Let's check in with Joseph Lindsley in Ukraine.
Here's a bizarre coincidence. The meaning of the Ukrainian word Chernobyl and stories of nuclear apocalypse have some kind of strange connection. Plus, will Kharkiv city become safer now that Washington has given Ukrainians permission to hit Russian military targets on Russian soil? Hi, I'm Joe Lindsley, reporting from Ukraine every single day of Russia's full-scale invasion, live Monday through Fridays on Chicago's WGN Radio. And here is my WGN Radio report with guest host Wendy Snyder for today, June 3rd, 2024.
Little Joe Lindsley.
Joe Lindsley is quickly becoming an American treasure in broadcasting.
Welcome to Ukraine Bank.
Wendy Snyder in for Bob Sirott today. Bob returns tomorrow, and we go live to Ukraine right now and talk to Joseph Lindsley. Joseph, I have not spoken to you in a long while.
Wendy, yes, it's great to hear your voice again. Hello from LVIV, Ukraine, and it's a nice spring day here. Over the weekend, I went to a friend's house, sort of on the edge of the city. There was a sort of a picnic in a garden in a village, and an interesting slice of life in wartime. And so just imagine this scene. I mean, first, that, every single person here is affected by the war. And everyone, their careers, businesses are suffering. Loved ones have been killed. People are at the front. Other people are waiting to be called up to fight. You can't travel like you used to. Ukrainians love freedom so much, and so much of that has been taken away from them. And so I was at this little party, in a garden, abundant produce growing there, very peaceful pastoral scene. Nancy Sinatra's Summer Wine was playing, or the music of Chuck Berry, Johnny B. Good, Oasis, under a cherry tree, a big table with barbecue ribs, garlic, crepes with mushrooms, tomatoes and peppers from the garden, wine from Sicily and from Ukraine's Bessarabia region. And so such a pleasant scene, all different ages of people. And yet, the war is the main topic, even amid the laughters and the storytelling. It's something that is heavy for everyone. And in this particular place, the family whose house it is, they described how often Russian missiles and drones have flown overhead. It's pretty common based on where their location is. And everyone sort of accepts this imminent possibility of death. It's just something that you live with here. And as I look at that scene, as summer really starts to begin here, now it's June, and in Ukrainian language, a little linguistic tour that will take us from the month of June to the idea of Chornobyl. But in Ukrainian language, unlike English or Russian or many European languages, they don't use the Latin words for months. They use this more ancient idea. So the word for May simply means grass, and the word for June is cervein, which means something like the root of that word is warm, and what it means is like the color of the earth is the color of a worm during this time of abundant produce, and so that's also the Ukrainian word for red. Red and warm are the same idea. It's kind of like the word vermilion in English comes from the French and the Latin, meaning warm, because that's the color, that red, orange color, and that's the color of some kind of vibrancy. And so speaking of words and worms, there's the word wormwood, which is the scientific name of that is Absinthe absinthia. In German, they call that vermouth, and that's a plant which now, they used to make the spirit vermouth. Well, here's how it's connected to Ukrainian language. The Ukrainian word for wormwood is Chornobyl, which means something like black grass. And so here we have June is the literal name of June in Ukrainian is warm red, the month of the warm redness. And Chernobyl means wormwood. And now, as I learned, this is pretty fascinating because, wormwood is something bitter and poisonous and dangerous. And in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, the book of the Apocalypse, there's a star called wormwood, or Chernobyl, that falls to earth. So in the Ukrainian version of the Bible, the star is called Chernobyl, and it falls to the earth, and it turns a third of the earth's waters bitter. So here, just interesting little linguistic take on the meaning in the Ukrainian language, but also the sort of bizarre tale of the roots of the word Chernobyl. that place, which of course in the 80s, was the scene of that horrific nuclear disaster, and it was a place where the Russians briefly occupied in the beginning of the full-scale invasion. So a little bit of the musings from a summer afternoon in Ukraine.
That's fantastic. That's way better than playing Wordle. I'll tell you that, Joseph.
I didn't know if it was going to be too complicated to explain all that. So hopefully everyone could follow.
No, it's I love finding out the history of things and the root words and stuff. And we were talking about Manhattans earlier, the drink, and of course sweet vermouth is part of a Manhattan. And then serious
nuclear and Manhattan Project.
Oh yeah. And to get serious, so now Zelensky was saying that since China is supporting Russia, this is just going to extend the war in Ukraine. What do you have for us on that?
China says that they will not join Ukraine's President Zelensky's peace conference in Switzerland because they want Russia to be a partner. And, most people that have been paying attention to what's happening in Beijing and Moscow know that, China is allied with Russia. They're not on the side of free people. The Chinese, when Ukrainian people stood with the people of Hong Kong, the Chinese were not happy. So they're not on the side of freedom. But I think the biggest news today is because Washington, after months and months of pressure from Democrats and Republicans, the White House last week gave permission for Ukraine to hit Russian military targets on Russian soil. In a very limited area, just across the border from Kharkiv city and Kharkiv region. And this is extraordinary. I mean, everyone's known this for a while. Once this power was unleashed, there was a belief that this could really turn things around. Kharkiv region and city have been hit really every day and night for more than a month. It's been absolutely terrible and difficult there. But now with these American HIMARS, the high mobility rocket launchers, they can light up the sky now over Russia. And they can hit the places from which Russians have been attacking Ukrainian civilians day and night for 2 years, but especially very intensely this past month and a half. And so this is giving people a lot of energy and hope to see, this actually works. And, the whole time Russia had said, if you do things like that, you're crossing the red line, we're going to go nuclear. So we wait and watch, but we do see, the other thing to watch is, will this start to make places like Kharkiv city safer? And certainly they were sitting duck, unable to hit back. And so now that has changed. And I asked, in Kharkiv, people were starting to get scared maybe about a week ago. And I asked an American who was visiting there, what's the mood right now? And he said it was amazing. He said the parks are filled with people. For a few days, people kind of stayed home. But now it's amazing. In war, you get used to things. You find your courage. And so Kharkiv is still vibrant. And now maybe they'll be more protected. And meanwhile, the other big news that's had been ignored for a while, but The Economist magazine, major story, they say in Crimea, Ukraine is beating Russia. The peninsula is becoming a death trap for Russian soldiers. So down south in Crimea, we're seeing successes as Ukrainians are taking out Russian radar systems, Russian ships. And at last, there's some good news from the Kharkiv region, thanks to the permission from Washington to hit Russian military targets on Russian soil.
Well, I look forward to what happens next. Bob is back tomorrow. He will talk to you then. In the meantime, listeners, you can check out UkrainianFreedomNews.com. Joseph Lindsley, thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Що він сказав?
Well, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні?